Your baby wants to be held again. You just put them down a moment ago, but now they're crying, reaching for you, lifting both arms, wanting to be picked up again. Many parents know this feeling. Your arms are tired. You still have things to do. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a question appears. Am I holding my baby too much? Some people may even tell you, you're spoiling them. They'll become too dependent. They need to learn to be on their own. And after hearing those things enough times, many parents begin to worry. But what if something very different is happening? What if your baby isn't asking to be held because they are spoiled? What if they aren't asking because they want control? What if every time those little arms reach toward you, they are asking for something much deeper? Because sometimes, when a baby reaches for you, they may not be asking to be picked up at all. And once you understand what they are really looking for, you may never see those moments the same way again. Before your baby was born, they spent months in a place where they never felt alone. They were surrounded by warmth, by familiar sounds, by the steady rhythm of a heartbeat. Then suddenly, everything changed. The world became brighter, louder, colder, less predictable. For adults, that sounds normal. But for a newborn, it is a huge adjustment. That is why babies are naturally drawn to the things that feel familiar. Your voice, your smell, your heartbeat, your touch. Toa baby. Those things feel like home. Not because they are weak, not because they are spoiled, but because those things help them feel safe. Long before children understand words, their brains are constantly asking, am I safe? Is someone here for me? And very often, your presence is the answer. That is why so many babies calm down when they are held, not because the problem magically disappears, but because the person who makes them feel safe has returned. And in that moment, the world feels a little less overwhelming. But there is something even more important happening beneath the surface. Something that helps explain why babies often want to be held when they are upset. Imagine a baby who is overwhelmed. Maybe they are tired, hungry, scared, or simply having a difficult moment. Adults can calm themselves down. We can take a breath, talk ourselves through a problem, remind ourselves that everything will be okay. Babies cannot do that yet. Their emotional system is still developing, so when big feelings arrive, they need help. And that help often comes from you. Child psychologists have a name for this: co-regulation. It simply means your baby borrows your calm until they can create their own. When you hold your baby, speak softly, or comfort them, you are helping their nervous system settle. You are lending them something they cannot yet create by themselves. That is why a baby can be crying one moment and resting peacefully against your chest the next. Your baby is not only being comforted, they are learning what comfort feels like. And over time, those experiences become important building blocks, because one day, the calm you repeatedly give them will slowly become their own. But there is another misunderstanding many people have about babies who always want to be held. They assume it creates dependence. Yet child development research often shows the opposite. Imagine a child at a playground. They run towards something interesting, then suddenly stop, turn around, and look for their parent. Once they see that familiar face, they continue exploring. This pattern happens everywhere. Children move away, then come back, explore, then reconnect. Psychologists often call this a secure base. A child explores the world more confidently when they know someone safe is nearby. That safe connection does not hold them back. It helps them move forward. The same idea begins much earlier in infancy. When babies reach for you, they are not always asking to stay close forever. Often, they are making sure their safe place is still there. And when they feel secure enough, they become more willing to explore. That is why healthy attachment is not the opposite of independence. It is often the foundation of independence. A child who feels safe usually has more confidence to step into the world, not less. And perhaps that leads to one of the most important ideas in this entire story. Maybe those little arms reaching up toward you were never really saying, "Carry me." Maybe they were saying, Help me feel safe. There was a little girl who wanted to be near her mother almost all the time. She followed her from room to room. She often asked to be held. Some people worried she was becoming too dependent, but years later, something surprising happened. The little girl who once wanted to be held all the time became one of the most confident children in her class. She made friends easily, tried new activities, and wasn't afraid of unfamiliar situations. What changed? The answer wasn't that she suddenly stopped needing connection. The answer was that she had received enough of it. Children do not become confident because they stop needing people. They become confident because they learn what safety feels like. And once that feeling becomes part of them, they carry it wherever they go. Maybe that is why so many moments that look like dependence are actually about trust. Maybe your baby isn't saying, "Don't leave me." Maybe they are saying, "I feel safe with you." And maybe that changes everything. Because the goal of childhood is not to need less love. It is to carry that love forward. And perhaps those little arms reaching toward you were never really asking, "Carry me." Maybe they were asking, "Help me feel safe." And perhaps this is the part many parents need to hear the most. One day, your baby will not ask to be held so often. One day, they will walk into another room without looking back. One day, they will run ahead instead of reaching up for your arms. And when that day comes, you may find yourself missing these moments more than you ever expected. Because childhood rarely announces when a season is ending. It simply changes, quietly, slowly, without warning. A phase that feels endless today can disappear before we realize it. But what matters most is not whether your baby wants to be held right now. What matters is what they are learning in those moments. Every time your baby reaches for you and finds you there, they learn something about the world. They learn that comfort exists. They learn that difficult feelings do not last forever. They learn that someone will help them through hard moments. And little by little, those experiences become part of who they are. Moment by moment, day by day, in ways that are almost invisible while they are happening. Yet years later, those same moments often become confidence, trust, resilience, and the courage to step into the world. Not because they were pushed away from connection, but because they had enough of it. And perhaps that changes the way we see those little hands reaching up toward us. Maybe they are not asking to be carried. Maybe they are asking, "Can I stay close to my safe place for a little longer?" So the next time your baby reaches for you, pause for a moment. Before worrying that you're holding them too much, ask yourself a different question. What if this moment isn't about dependence? What if it's about connection? Because one day, your child will stop reaching up for you, but the feeling you helped build inside them may stay for the rest of their life. Maybe your baby isn't looking for your arms at all. Maybe they are looking for what your arms represent: comfort, safety, connection, love. And perhaps, those are some of the greatest gifts a child can receive. If this video reminded you of a moment with your child, tell me about it in the comments. What is something your baby does that always makes them reach for you? I'd love to read your story. And if you think another parent might need this reminder today, share this video with them. Because sometimes, understanding one small behavior a little better can replace worry with reassurance. And if you'd like more stories about the hidden emotional world of babies and young children, don't forget to subscribe. Because children are communicating with us every day, often in ways that look ordinary on the surface, but carry a much deeper meaning underneath.